Welcome back to the early rundown. The prospect of spending weeks, possibly even months, isolating at home is a new and daunting prospect for many people. But for some, far from uncharted waters, self-isolation is something they've gone through many times before. Joining us now from Bournemouth is John Bailey, a former Royal Navy submarine officer who on several occasions has spent long stints isolated under the sea and therefore is perfectly placed to tell me how I'm going to avoid going stir-crazy over the next 3 months. John, really good to see you this morning. I suppose it's all about routine, isn't it?
Good morning. Yes, for us, it's and for everybody here, getting through our days is about routine. For most of us, that's how we go about our work, our commute, the school run, and everything. And certainly on board a submarine, it was no different. Albeit our routine was dictated by our procedures and orders, and was a little bit more stricter than in day to day. You would find in everyday life.
So give us an idea then, John, of the practical steps that you'd recommend so that we avoid, ending up killing the rest of our family.
First up is obviously, I mentioned that routine. It's important to try and establish that very early on during your in isolation, whether it's self-imposed or due to illness, because as the days go on, you're going to start to fall into some very bad habits. Therefore, being able to refer back to this routine gives you that little bit of link back to normality. So when it comes down to writing it down, you've always got that external reference to go back to. And the other thing is just to make sure you've got that social network, the same as on board. We weren't saying isolated on a submarine is a bit strong when you've actually got 120 other human beings under the water with you who form your ship's company or your crew, who you all depend on. So you've got to build your own little crew within this isolation, and that's going to be mostly done remotely, either by telephone, listening to your favourite radio stations, communicating with people on Skype, as we are now, just to build that support network and looking for people who are going to support you and act in ways that aren't going to, don't panic everybody, and generally contribute to your well-being.
John, here's the thing. What do you do on a submarine of all places when you just need to get away from everyone? When you need that 5 minutes, half an hour of me time? It's hard enough for us all when we're all self-isolating at home, the finite number of rooms, but you can always pop your head out the window. Not something you can do very easily on a submarine.
Generally, at sea, your little bunk, which is probably about the size of a good-sized coffee table, is your little place with little curtains you can draw around, and that'll be most people's little bolt hole. You could go in there, put your headphones on, listen to some your favourite music. I guess you could tune into a podcast now, or possibly even watch something on a tablet device. Read a good book, or just sit there, in silent contemplation. I think it's important for those who are going through self-isolation as a family to either have like a separate room, which is that privacy is respected, or if your accommodation doesn't warrant that, just setting aside 2 hours today, I'm going to be in this room. I'd appreciate a little bit of privacy, etc. It just reminds me of that great children's book. About Mummy Elephant trying to find 5 minutes peace to enjoy her cup of tea.
I know the situation well. Well, look, John, thank you so much for your advice. And you went viral at the weekend. There'll be plenty of people who I will pass on your advice to over the next few weeks and months. But for now, thanks very much and look after yourself.
And to you. Thank you very much.
Time for the weather.